I hear the boat steaming over to us really, really fast.
Don't sit on the back.
Come in between us.
The white is right behind you.
I'm just gonna horse it.
Welcome to Spearfishing Down Under. This, our latest episode, is an absolute cracker. We're headed to Western Australia to dive with some of my really good friends over there. But before we get into that, I would love to give a big shout out to all of those that have been commenting, all of those that have been sending me messages on Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, just to encourage us on all the enjoyment you're getting out of this channel. Thank you so much for that. It's much appreciated. No doubt over the last couple of months, it's been a lot of hard work making this happen. Big thank you to Wes and the team for all the work that they've done to help us get the channel off the ground again. Okay, let's get into this. This episode, I jump on a plane in Brisbane and I fly all the way to Perth. Again, another flight up into Exmouth to meet good friends of mine, Lee Mitchell. And added to that is Mick and Pete brothers from up there that at the time were running a charter business. On top of that, Matt Gates from Tackle World Exmouth jumped in as well, and we all headed up and did a 5-day trip that was one of the best trips of my life. Now, if you're an international viewer and you don't know where Exmouth is, it is one of the most western points of Australia. It's in the northwest of Australia, very dry and very warm area. Once I arrived in Exmouth, Lee picked me up from the airport and we headed straight to the boat. We had to pack all the gear on board, had to spend a bit of time fueling it up and getting ready for what was to be almost a day and a half trip in the boat. Pumped, ready to rock and roll? Oh yeah.
No idea how pumped.
No idea how pumped. Nicest boat I've ever been out spearing on, for sure.
Really? What about miles, like?
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
Feeling so.
That boat was
Awesome.
was nice. Right boys, what's happening now?
Doggies. Dog logs, hopefully. I'm actually feeling like a kid.
We started the trip, cruised through the afternoon, doing some rigging up and preparing some gear. And then I had the most uncomfortable sleep in the boat as we cruised all the way through the night. Every time I board a plane heading to Western Australia, the first thing that comes to my mind is great white sharks. I didn't think going so far north that my fears were going to come true. We arrived at the first location around mid-morning and we were greeted by incredibly clear water, amazing viz and a little bit rough conditions, but not too bad. On this first day of the trip, our target was dogtooth tuna. I'm usually using smaller reel guns as I'm often targeting reef fish, but this trip, targeting these bigger fish, we're using a Rife Blue Water Express. This gun's incredibly powerful, shoots large spears, multiple rubbers, and a gun that you need to use 2 hands to shoot. These guns are incredibly accurate at large distances and have the punching power to punch through bigger fish. To target these dogtooth tuna, the first thing we do is jump in with large flashes and we start to just burley and chum a little bit. The burley and chum is a good thing for the doggies, but a terrible thing for the sharks, and you have to balance between the two as you're drifting along. This style of hunting is all about teamwork. On this day, we were diving in teams of 2. There was 4 of us in the water and 1 in the boat. The reason the teamwork's so important for us, when teamed up in 2s, one would have a reel gun in the hand, the other has the big gun. The guy with the reel gun, his job is to dive when you feel like you're in the right area and see if he can spot doggies on the bottom. Targeting those doggies, big front edges of big drop-offs coming out of incredibly deep water up into the shallows. Pretty much straight away we started seeing doggies.
It's one about 10 though.
Incredibly, we didn't just see doggies, we saw other really good fish like big mackerel, lots of wahoo, and of course, millions and millions of sharks. Doggies!
Doggy?
2 doggies coming on me.
One coming behind you?
Yeah, right behind me.
Sorry for a distance.
Hey? Yeah. After a couple of drifts, making sure we're in the exact right spot, Lee did a dive. and got a spear into a really nice dogtooth tuna. Now this fish was quite a big fish and it absolutely flogged him. Pull the floats down under the water, dragging all of us as we're trying to land this fish, which is, for me, one of the great reasons I love to shoot dogtooth tuna. They are a powerful animal, incredible fish, and when they're dragging 3 divers through the water when you're trying to land this thing, you are reminded why we target these fish.
Probably should have went harder on him.
Unfortunately, in this situation, the sharks got the better of us and they completely demolished Lee's fish.
It was a good shot. It went all the way through, but it was a tiny bit low, so I was a bit scared. I should have just went hard on him. I wouldn't have got him anyway. He was the biggest in the school. He would have been about 30 kilo, I reckon. It's a good fish.
We got back in the boat, we had a rethink, and we all decided, listen, we're gonna pull these fish up really, really fast. We headed up again to start the drift, and this time it was Mick's turn to have a dive on those fish. He dropped perfectly and got a shot on a really nice doggy. This time we're all straight onto that float, straight onto pulling that fish up and making sure we got it past the sharks.
Buffalo's in the skin. Missed it.
I just got horsing!
Especially because you just told me that big police fish is many. I'm going hard here.
Mine was a 30 kilo fish, eh? You want to take some photos, Tim? Take some photos?
We did a number of different drifts and we didn't quite get an opportunity to pull the trigger on doggies, but we were seeing them every drift. On this drift, Lee dove, he had the big gun in his hand, he was preparing to shoot the doggies and he landed on quite a large school of fish and quite a large dogtooth. He couldn't get a shot, headed back to the surface, and he actually called out to me and said, hey, there's big doggies down there, and we swapped over guns.
Hey Timbo, there's a big fish here if you want the gun.
I did a dive and headed down, and when I headed down, I landed on, again, a really good school, big school of doggies. There were some really nice fish in the school, and my objective was to find a fish with a big head, big shoulders, and good length to shoot the biggest doggy I could shoot. On this dive, a number of doggies presented themselves for a shot, but I was looking for that really good fish. Finally, a big fat one come past me. I got a bit deeper and I was having to pull against the bungee, which makes it quite hard to aim, but I aimed up and shot that big fish really well right behind the head.
Are you on? Timbo, are you on?
Yeah, the gun's tangled up in the ropes.
Right.
Miko!
Once we landed that fish, we're in the boat for some photos straight away. We're all pretty pumped, pretty excited to actually land a couple of really nice dogtooth. Next drift, Pete jumped in, he had his chance at a doggy and he dove and landed on a really fishy area. There was big schools of GTs swimming around with doggies. It was quite incredible. Pete got a bit excited and was really keen to get his doggy and probably went at him a bit hard, which just spooked them and pushed them back a little bit, meaning that he took a bit of a longer shot than he should have. The issue with the longer shot is, oftentimes the spear hasn't gone all the way through, so we took it a little bit lighter on the fight and sharks end up eating the fish in the end. Next drift, it was Matt's turn and he dove on a really nice school of doggies. Did really well, held the gun back, took his shot, and nailed a really good doggy. We'd learned our lessons from losing a couple of other fish, so we all got in together as a team, and we absolutely horsed that fish to the surface. Now when I say horse it, I mean every one of us pulling up that fish as quick as we could. At this stage, the sharks were just really, really bad, and we were done with losing fish. We just wanted to make sure we landed that fish.
Timbo straight onto it, pulling it up for you, man. That's what you got to do, man. Sharks on it.
As we finished landing Matt's fish, Lee also had another dive and the doggies were still hanging around. He got a little bit carried away with his reel gun and shot himself a really nice fish on just the reel gun. Again, the sharks were getting really bad at this stage, so we quickly threw Matt's fish in the boat and we all dove together to make sure we could protect Lee's fish.
There's some big hooers there. Big hooers. Big dog along.
Reel gun, smashed it. Nothing, eh?
We again reset to start the drift, and this time it was my turn on the big gun. Lee dove, spotted the doggies, and I dove straight after him and landed on a really nice school of doggies again. I was really lucky on this dive. The biggest fish of the school gave me a really nice pass by. Aimed up with that big gun and shot it again right behind the head. Lee was right behind me filming the whole time and we got some incredible footage as that fish just smoked off into the blue. As I was heading to the surface, I turned around to see not just one float coming down, but a second one following it. Again, this is the reason why we love hunting these fish. Now, if I was to swim under the water and try and pull one of these floats down, it would be absolutely impossible. And this fish is pulling down too. To add to that, a number of divers grab a hold of that float and we're trying to lift that fish to the surface and it's dragging us down as well. This is just pure adrenaline, pure excitement, and these fish are so incredibly powerful.
Only small, eh?
Hey?
He's only small, he was the biggest in that school.
He made that float, yeah.
Now, let me be really clear. If you think we just do it for the adrenaline, you miss out on how great these fish taste. They are wonderful to eat, and it makes them one of the most sought after fish in the world.
Floats go under.
After landing that fish, we were all buzzing. Everyone was just so excited, ready to get back in the water again. So excited because we just landed some incredible fish. So excited because we just fought this fish that was dragging us all underwater. So we're heading up to go and do another drift. As we're driving up, the boys up in the top deck noticed something really big in the water. So we drove up beside to check out what it was. I was thinking whale shark until we pulled up beside a 5.5 to 6 meter great white shark. Let me just say, the whole mood of the boat changed in an instant. I tried to grab my camera. The boys were going, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? And that big white just drifted off because of the sound of the boat. At that point, none of us were keen to get back in the water. Even though there was big schools of doggies and it was just going off, we're all a little bit put off by the fact that this wasn't just a white, it was a monster white. We sat down, had team meeting. Where do we go from here? Do we get back in the water? Do we just decide to move? Which for us was really difficult because we had really what was a drive through the night to go to the next area we wanted to dive. We actually decided, let's go and line fish for a little bit. Now, I'm no line fisherman, so everyone had fun laughing at me as I tried to catch a trevally on a line. And we did that for probably half an hour till I was like, you know what? I'm sick of line fishing. Let's get back to the spearfishing. So we decide we're going to get back in the water and we're going to just have business as normal. We're going to drift flashes. We're going to drift with chum. And for me, I figured let's chum big because if that white's going to come, it's going to come and then we'll get out of there. So I just jumped in and started chumming and had a cloud of fish everywhere. But we drifted for about 15 minutes and I hadn't seen a single shark. To me, that was so off-putting. Not seeing sharks after chumming, and I just assumed that had something to do with the white. After about another 5-10 minutes, things seemed like they were getting back to normal. We hadn't seen the white, we hadn't seen other sharks, and a big school of mackerel come in, and the boys just got distracted, and Mick shot a mackerel, and so did Matt. Unfortunately, those mackerel went opposite directions. They had their lines tangled up. Lee's trying to untangle their lines. We're all totally distracted with the fact that they're fighting these mackerel.
I gotta get my float back on, otherwise I can't do anything.
Yeah, the motor.
Swim with me.
Yeah,
I'm still drifting and still chumming a little bit to see if we could get some doggies in, see if other bigger mackerel would come. And we had completely forgotten about that great white until I hear the boat steaming over to us really, really fast. I can hear Pete screaming something from the top deck. I'm not exactly sure what he was saying at the time until I heard him say, "The white is right behind you."
They did.
You know what? The scramble was crazy. Everyone's trying to climb on. Lee's yelling out to Matt, "Get off the back deck, help me get into the boat."
Don't sit on the back. Yeah, grab this. Grab this now.
And it was absolute and utter mayhem.
You get video?
No. The boat. It's coming between us.
when you guys went on,
Worst part about all of the mayhem is the guys forgot about their own rig lines and the rig line got wrapped around the prop. You know what, we draw straws and really my straw was the only one in the mix because no one else was getting in the water and I had to finally jump in and untangle the prop so that we could go anywhere. Let me just say, I am so grateful that white didn't come back when I was in the water doing that. And at that moment, we decided, listen, it's probably best that we head to the next location because we had such a huge steam. If we waited till the next day and saw that white again, we'd waste a whole day of our trip. We packed up all the gear, cleared the back deck, stowed everything away, and had a big steam ahead of us through the night. Honestly, the first 3 hours, we had a little bit of dinner to eat, but we all just sat and talked about the situation that just occurred. The doggies were epic. That was amazing. But that encounter with the white just was so off-putting, and we threw around the reality. Listen, we're hundreds of miles from anywhere. If one of us had gotten bitten, like, it's life-ending stuff. And we were just all pretty grateful to have experienced the doggies, but also experienced that shark and come away unscathed. Now, this is just one day of this 5-day trip. The next day, we thought we probably couldn't top the pelagics of that day. We probably couldn't thought this trip would get any better. But let me say, the next couple of days, this trip just gets better and better and better. The next day, oh, big mackerel.
That's a f***ing horse.
Nice marlin. Absolutely incredible day. Hey, big shout out and thanks again to all of you that have been, I just went through puberty. Hey, again, a big shout out and big thank you to all of you that have been commenting, all of you that have been messaging me on Instagram and Facebook. I really appreciate every one of your encouragements, appreciate every one of your great comments that you've made. Again, we'd love you to like, subscribe, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes, because this one is not just one part, not just 2 parts, but there's 3 parts to this awesome series because there's so much amazing footage to come.